Hey, you know how you're awesome? Well, why don't you continue being awesome by checking out my podcast, Waffle Box? Because why the fuck not? I don't know what I'm doing with that hammer. Crazy.
Microdose, yeah, Microdose. Hosted by Kush, Hayes, and Robyn Seto. Talking the talk, cause they got things for you to know. Let's go party with Miss Robyn in the games on Cameo. Yeah, Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. What gets this next? Go and take a guess. No matter who it is, every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. If you disagree, you're crazy, simple as chess. Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you, episode number 80. 80. How did we get to the 80s already? Of the Microdose. You know the Microdose. With me, as usual, Robyn Seto. Miss Robyn, if you're nasty. Robyn, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm okay.
You're okay?
Well, it's still smoky and muggy here in good old Sacramento, but it's probably going to be like that until the end of September, honestly. So
Okay.
we'll survive another fire season for sure. But other than that, things aren't too shabby.
I gotta say, it's been a pretty generous fire season then. Like, I mean, you're still dealing with smoke and whatever, but I'm only getting my fire updates from you. Normally it's on like every YouTube thread, and I'm getting alerts on my phone like, watch out, Kush, there's a fire 35 miles away from you. Like, but don't be worried. I'm like, oh, okay, then I won't. We got some friends coming in from the UK, special recording session. We are local by
Very
choice, but
special.
continue to be international by nature. We are bringing back from the Cheers podcast, where nobody knows your name, all the way from the UK, James Marshall, John McCauley. Guys, how you doing? What's good? Welcome back.
Not too bad. Good to be
Thanks
back.
for having us back.
Thanks for
We
being
need to,
back.
we need to
man.
take in turns, James. We're all over the place. You go first.
Just like our own podcast.
That's what's up.
I'm all right. Good to be back. Yeah. Now you go, John. That's how it
It's
works.
great to be here. We had great fun last time, and we're excited to be back again.
We did have a lot of fun. Like I said, I did listen to our episode going into this. It's been such a chaotic week where I've recorded 5 out of the last 6 days. I had a gap. I had a nice break yesterday, but otherwise we've just been going hard, and that's including shows like I don't produce. That's not a part of this network. Where I was like, oh yeah, I gotta do that other obligation here, and then et cetera, et cetera. So when I got to last night, and there was still stuff for me to do around the house, I was happy to just pop on some Cheers. And Leah was like, you know what? I'm going to just watch the last couple episodes of season 5. And I did. And then season 6 started, and I just let it keep going, and I continue to do other stuff. But it's a nice warm blanket and a warm cup of soup. Guys, where are you in your Cheers timeline right now?
Ooh, we have Cheers the Motion Picture coming out shortly after this episode of Microdose goes live, which is it's one of John's favorites for sure.
Yes, I love that episode. And much like yourself, Kush, we're in that recording game as well, because we've sort of started season 6 now. So we've recorded up to there, and we're having a great time watching those episodes. It's like you say, once you watch one episode, it's hard to stop. It's comfort telly.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense for me, and nostalgia is always a thing, but this show is off like a full 20 years before you guys were born. I'm totally botching the dates there, but like a good chunk of time passed in between this series ending, Frasier being a whole thing, and then you guys were born. So I'm always flabbergasted by that it's like, what is it about this show that just it resonates with a whole other generation? It's a whole other century even, and like a whole other country.
Yeah.
It's just like, we need more Cheers in our life, Kush. This is what it's about. What is that drive? What makes this writing and this storytelling that timeless?
I think for me, it certainly reminds me of a simpler time when the socializing was done in a place such as a bar. and you met people that way as opposed to the digital landscape in which it's now done.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly an appeal to me. I don't know if John has a different take.
I think it's like you say. I think a lot of the themes through the writing resonate today just as strong, if not stronger. It feels like it was a show that was like really ahead of its time, but that it's done so humorously that just resonates still, even across the pond, like you say. And I think there's such strong characters in there. And I think where we are at now with the series, Frasier's obviously shining pretty strong in season 5, and looking forward to seeing where that goes forward. But yeah, when you said it came out 20 years before us, I just sort of got a vision of how there's like a baby version of everything, like the Muppets babies,
Yes.
Looney Tunes babies, with the Cheers babies.
Cheers
That's what I'm
babies.
thinking.
Yes.
Mom's just there with a bottle of milk. Just
Carlos making Cliff cry, I think, as well. To his
She's
mum.
got him in headlocks for days. Absolutely. Guys, you recently had a new addition. You've not added one, but 2 guest hosts. If I'm correct, the names are Troy and Barry. How do you know
That's
these
right.
gentlemen? How did they get associated with the show? Am I even correct in this news? Based on our pre-show, I'm off on a bunch of things right now.
yeah, no, that's right. They popped in for an episode each near the end of season 4 as a kind of relief bartender type deal. And now they've got a part-time position here on our podcast, haven't they, John?
Yeah, and I think it's quite nice that they're very much, we've known them for a while as well. And pretty much when me and James sort of conceived the idea to do this podcast, I'm pretty sure they're probably on the same table in the pub.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice that they've come on board to the podcast as well, because they've always sort of been there. Troy's been promoting us since the start, and Barry's been a listener since the start as well. So it's nice to have them on board and getting involved. And again, like us, they haven't watched it before. I think Barry's got a bit more experience with odd episodes, but it's nice to get that new perspective that we sort of bring to the show in our podcast.
Barry, much like you, Kush, grew up watching it. So for him, he has that added nostalgia element when on the episodes he appears in, which is always a fun take to have.
Your combined ages were an average of 25. What's the age differences on Troy and Barry?
Barry's early 40s and Troy is 36.
Okay. All right. So, that's very interesting perspective there. And then, did you guys just? I'm going to take it you guys didn't know them from college or university. Like, are they just neighbors? Did you hang out with them at the bar? Or do you guys do another show with them? Or
I've been on a couple of Troy's wrestling podcasts because he does a wrestling podcast with people he's met through wrestling events. But John and I have worked with them in terms of media production in our day jobs. So yeah, we knew each other through that.
all right. Well, Troy will be excited to hear that I'm wearing a Powerhouse Hobbs T-shirt. You've technically finished season 5. The fans are still in. We're almost there. We're almost towards the wedding. You guys are into recording season 6, but let's talk 5 for a minute. What has been your favorite episode overall?
I need to think back. It changes every time I think of them. I'll say that.
That's fair.
But I think Thanksgiving Orphans is up there as one of my standouts of the season. Really loved Cheers the Motion Picture we've got coming out. I think that was probably one of my favorites. And of course, Dinner at 8ish is up there as well. But I think James has a different list. But there's some big hitters in there.
Yeah, Dinner at 8ish is my favorite one from season 5. Then Abnormal Psychology, another Lilith and Frasier episode, and just below that, Simon Says with
Simon Says,
John
yes.
Cleese.
John, how was the Simon Says episode? I think we might have spoiled things for you on your last appearance, but
I had an inkling he was coming.
How was the episode? I did get to watch that as well last night. Like, I enjoyed the shit out of it. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, a really, really good one. But I think with this was me. I had a contentious view on it because I said he didn't go full Cleese. I was waiting for the moment for him to absolutely snap and start.
He was definitely
across the
holding
room.
back, right?
Yeah. But loved it. It was great to see him in the show, and I think a great addition. And of course, got an Emmy for it. His performance as a guest spot as well.
There you go.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good performance. So, Robyn, I know you didn't catch up on anything. John Cleese played a famous marriage counselor from the UK, and him and Frasier, their backstory is like they at least had a class together during university. They took separate paths. and blah blah blah. Now John Cleese is happily married, but he also might be kind of a player. That we don't really go past the what ifs, but Diane knows of him, and Diane's reads all the big books, Robyn, all the big heavy books, and he wrote a big heavy book that she was a big fan of, and she's like, John Cleese, you gotta analyze me and Sam right now. And Sam's like, bitch, we are not even married yet. I mean, we have tons of problems, but technically he doesn't see us. And at first John Cleese tolerates it, and he was like, yeah, okay, you guys are kind of crazy, but you're also kind of normal. Don't worry about it. Just do your thing. You'll be fine. And Diane won't really accept that. And she goes way beyond the rule of three to the point where she wakes this man up in his hotel room at like 3 a.m. and finally just breaks him. And he's just like, all right, you know what? You guys are the perfect couple. Don't worry about it. Sam is even going crazy. Like he just wants to get a bite to eat. And why he's tolerating any of this. Like he tries to put his foot down, but gets overrun by her every single time. Well, finally, Diane gets the answer she wants at the end of the episode, and you'd think there would be more to it, but then she just turns to Sam and was like, see how easy that was? And then cue credits.
There's a great there's a great underlying bit as well that Frasier agrees to pay for this counseling, to which he gets like stiff with a really big bill. So his revenge is kind of to push Diane further in this sort of thing. Yeah, so you get this lovely back and forth.
Frasier is one of the few times he does get to kind of play evil puppet master. He's just like, oh yeah, I know how to play hardball too. Like he's like, no, Diane, you have to go back there right now to the hotel, and you have to demand that he sees you for who you are. He has to bare your soul to him. Yeah, and she's like, that's it. Yeah, we're doing this. By the way, I don't know if you're aware of this, Robyn, but Frasier and Diane, once upon a time, did they get married, guys, or were they just going to get married?
She jilted him, basically. Jilted him in
at
Venice.
The altar, that's right. Frasier got a lot of time this season, but I feel like within this season, we see just how sad and pathetic he is. But it over the next 5 years, John, you'll see like he's the only one who ever really gets super slammered. Like to the point where like someone has to like push him into a cab.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, of all the times you think like, well, Norm, that would be Norm, obviously. No, Norm is just cool as a cucumber the entire time. I think Norm goes off once, and that was when him and Vera were on the rocks in like season 2 or 3. But since then, Frasier takes the cake. He's usually the drunkest. He's usually the most obnoxious. He's usually the most mischievous for some reason. And then still
perfect
like
for a spin-off.
Yeah.
There you go. That might go somewhere, dude. That might go somewhere. We're gonna play with that. Okay. Guys, I know we're per your timeline, we're only 4 episodes away from the season 5 finale, so I don't want you to spoil anything for any of your fans that might be listening to this episode. But this is Diane Chambers' last season. Shelley Long exits the series after this. What do you think about her final days?
It's a weird. I think they do a good job with it for the most part. I think there was never going to be perfect. I don't think it's a perfect season. There's lots of downs. There's quite a few, to be honest. But I think it ends high. I think things like Norm's first hurrah, and I said this to James in one of our recordings. Really, when you think of the character of Diane, she built an attachment to Sam and Norm, and I think Norm's first hurrah gives her a good farewell to him, which I think pays off. Cheers the Motion Picture. I love that episode, and I think that just does the character a lot of justice and kind of gives Diane the opportunity to share her eyes of the bar in some way, her artistic vision. And then I Do Adieu is, I think it goes down as one of those sort of, I understand why there are both sides to hating it and loving it. Is Marmite a thing in the US? That's a 50-50 like and not like kind of thing. But I think I ended up on liking it. I think I may have lost your audience there when that would introduce Marmite.
No. I'm definitely not familiar with that phrase.
It's a yeast spread.
But it's sort of advertised on the idea that you will either love it or hate it.
Okay.
Right, people right down the middle. Yeah.
Right down the middle. We get that.
But I love this, I think. I think that it ends quite sentimental. And I think that there's a nice way to end it for the Diane era.
Hmm.
How about you, James?
Yeah, I think I generally agree. I think, as you alluded to, in season 5, particularly the first half of season 5, was a long wait to get to what I think a lot of people knew was eventually coming in the Sam and Diane wedding. And the first 13 episodes of that season was just waiting for them to actually agree whether they're engaged or not in the first place. But in the latter half, they could actually develop that relationship more, which enabled the finale to be a fitting goodbye. And we talked briefly in one of our episodes about the alternate ending of season 5 to throw the audience off the scent, basically, where they filmed 2 endings, one where they didn't get married and one where they did.
Okay.
And we won't reveal which because of spoilers, but I think John and I agreed that the alternate ending tends to work better in terms of character. I think that was a general consensus, wasn't it, John?
I think so, maybe. I think if they were going to end it and they wasn't going to continue, then they had an ending there that would have sufficed. But I think, like I mentioned, we've watched a couple of episodes in the next season, and it definitely rejuvenates the whole series, really, and it's a really fresh kickoff in season 6.
Yeah, it's a complete facelift in season 6. In fact, one could argue that the series is now done. This is a reboot, if you will, to use today's terms. So Diane had her people like Diane, but then people hated Diane. I don't know if they hated Shelley Long, but there were people who were happy that Diane were off the show, and they didn't hate how she left. And then I guess there were people who loved Diane and were just sad to see her go. Does that wash right?
Yeah, and I know some of the perception was that people found Diane more annoying as the first 5 seasons went on. Whether that was character or actress, I don't know. There was a rumor that she essentially wanted or saw herself as akin to something like Lucille Ball or Betty White, in these kind of leading female comedians, which whether she was or not, I can't comment on. But I think if that was the tension on the set, I can certainly understand why the Charles brothers weren't that concerned about writing well.
After the show had ended, and you go on your IMDb trivia, there's always like little threads and things about like Shelley Long didn't really get along with members of the cast. But I would also say, like, she was on that show 5 years. I'm sure they all got along fine. But apparently when Kirstie Alley comes onto the show, like, it's a whole different energy, and now every day is a party. Whereas, like, well, some days Shelley wants to treat the work a little seriously.
There's 2 videos of acceptance speeches, the Emmys, I believe it is, and when it's Shelley Long, she's very serious, and you see Ted Danson nodding along, and then you see 5 years later, and both Kirstie Alley and Ted Danson are completely wasted, knocking back bottles of wine.
Good for them. Speaking of Shelley Long, fun fact: so this drops August 20th. But Shelley Long's birthday will be August 23rd. So I thought that was some serendipity, and then you guys told me, like, no, we're still like 4 episodes behind. Don't worry.
Yes, it's her 72nd birthday.
Her 70. Damn, is she 72?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen her on Modern Family, so that would still put her in her mid to late 60s. That far, yeah. But she doesn't look it, man. Good for her. It's different times, man. It's different time. As we said, now season 6, we're on the precipice of season 6 for you guys, but you've already seen a couple episodes, and we meet Rebecca Howe. What do we think of her, John?
Oh, a breath of fresh air. She's so good in the role. I think she's able to put people in their place, which Diane was never able to do. Mm-hmm. She's an authoritative figure, which no one particularly takes seriously at the moment, but still has the power. And it's just building really fresh, dynamic sort of impact in the bar, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think one thing I said to James is that sort of opener of season 6 almost feels like a dystopian sort of take on Cheers. Almost like the end of the Snyder Cut, where it's like flash forward, all of these sort of B characters. So Frasier's coming as the regular now, normally not to be seen. Cliff isn't there. and Woody and Carla are sort of brought together to sort of B list, and then through that episode, all the A lists sort of come back to get a Screaming Viking, which I mean that's a moment. But I'll let
Screaming
James
Viking is pretty great.
And the fact that Rebecca is then sort of one against all of the regulars, it's a great sort of dynamic to move forward with.
It was a Spartacus type moment. Just people coming in and going, a Screaming Viking. I want a Screaming Viking.
So,
There's a few recipes for it online now, a Screaming Viking. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
you know what? I think we need to just get into the Robyn Seto Party. All right, guys. It's the Robyn Seto cameo party. Robyn Seto, you got a game for us?
Yeah, I got a game. Tonight's game is Cheers theme.
What is it?
It is Cheers themed.
Cheers
the
themed.
theme is Cheers.
Okay.
It's not the theme from Cheers, but it's like that.
Okay.
So I go to cameo.com. I go find these Cheers related actors. I made a list of their cameo prices. Now I will have our lovely guest go up against our lovely host to guess the prices of each one. Would you guys like to play separately or as a team?
Separately. Yeah.
Now, who won last time?
I think John won last time.
Did I?
Did John win last time? John is our defending champion. OMGbus.
I think I guessed a
Yeah.
fluke last time.
I think I made wild guesses, like $2,000.
Yeah,
Alright, John.
well, you know.
Well, John, you got a target on your back now. It's 2 against 1. You know, normally this is it's me against the world, but now it's everyone against you, my friend.
I'll do my best.
You probably do
Alright.
pretty good too.
You know, don't worry. No worries. All right. So, John, since you were the last champion, you will get to guess first. And first on this list is Brent Spiner. Yes, apparently Brent Spiner was the guest star in one episode. Here. Oh,
Man, it's hard going first because you don't have to benchmark. I'm going to go $70. That's for a video call.
yeah.
70.
James, what do you think?
I think because of the whole data thing, he's got a big cult following. I'm gonna go with 360.
Wow.
360.
All right.
Kush just needs to go in the middle and he's going to win.
Brent Spiner, his guest role in Cheers, definitely before Star Trek. He is much like a John Cleese situation. He was a well-respected author, and he wrote a very big book that Diane happened to read. And in this case, he's absolutely a slime ball, and we get to watch that unfold. It's a lot of fun. For people who just know data, it's very fun to see Brent Spiner playing a completely different character from that or what he played in Independence Day. But yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna say $500 because of the Star Trek thing. Everyone knows him from Star Trek. No one knows him from Cheers.
Famous Cheers actor Brent Spiner.
All right. Brent Spiner is charging $299 for a cameo. So
John.
actually, John gets the point.
Did I?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
James.
'cause you did.
got-
No, because I said
I went over.
299. You went over.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
360. Oh,
trying to help you out, James.
Well, okay. Next up, Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka, football man. did a guest spot
Football
on
guy.
Cheers. Football man. Yeah, I don't remember what team he coached for. I
He
just
was a
know
coach
him
for
as
the
a
Chicago Bears.
The
Chicago.
Bears.
The Bears. All right, John, what do you think Mike Ditka wants for a cameo?
I'm going to go higher this time because I think I underdid it last time. I'm going to go. Let's go for $150.
$150.
That's an unfair question to our guests, but wow.
All right, James.
Ooh. I think, again, he's probably someone who cameoed on Cheers because of his sports personality. So,
Yeah. Americans love their American football.
Yeah, so based on what I know of wrestling from Choice Things and their prices, I'm gonna guess it's a similar amount. I'm gonna say 210.
Okay.
I'm either gonna hit this right on the head, or I'm gonna be off by 1,000,000 points. I'm gonna say $1,000 because Mike Ditka is that true legend. He's that coach that used to play the game, and when he was playing the game, it was 3 different games prior to what we have now in American football, to the point where like he was just throwing elbows and dropping nut punches, and the ref couldn't do anything about it. Maybe throw a flag, but it was just like, yeah, that's the game, yo.
So I may have undervalued him.
Yeah, like I said it earlier, man. This was an unfair question for you guys. So Mike Ditka, he's a legend. It doesn't matter that I'm a 49ers guy and he's a Chicago Bears guy. He's the truth. He's Mr. Football guy, like Robyn said. So 1,000 American dollars for Mike Ditka.
$1,000 is not a bad guess, but Mike Ditka is charging $600 for a cameo. So actually, James was closest without going over.
Wow.
So
This is a competitive game.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so our next 3,
That's amazing.
our final 3 celebrities on this list were on our list last time you were here. However, their prices have changed.
Ooh.
So even if you just listened to the podcast and somehow remembered all the prices from the last game, they will not be the same price.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it will be up to you to decide whether or not you think they are charging more or less.
The anticipation is killing me. What is it, woman?
All right. Well, first up, again, we have Mr. Paul Wilson.
Ooh, Paul.
I love Paul Wilson.
I am going to go for $60.
60.
It's
James.
60 is a good guess. I'm trying to think what else he's been in except Cheers. Was Larry Sanders Show he was in?
He's the jump to conclusions guys in Office Space.
That's it as well. I think John's pretty close, but I'm going to say 75.
I think I remember what he was.
Yeah, he's got to definitely be the most grounded everybody that we've done on this show. I'm going to just say $99. $99.99.
$99.99.
Please.
All right. Paul Wilson was charging $40.99 for a cameo. He is now charging $40 for a cameo flat.
Wow.
Knocked off nice.
So, whoops, no points. But all very, very, very generous guesses for Paul. All right. Next we have John Ratzenberger, Cliff.
Ooh, hells yeah.
One.
I'm going to go for 110.
110.
What was Ratzenberger charging prior to this? Do you have that in your notes?
I do.
He's not telling you.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Probably for the
Oh.
best. You're.
I don't
Thank
want to
you,
give
James.
you that
Probably for the
until after everyone's guessed.
I get so anxious. I love this game.
Ooh. All right, James. What do you think?
I think John's undervalued him because he's Cheers, very well known for Cheers, but he's Pixar's golden boy. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it's closer to 430.
430.
Fudge and graham crackers. That's a lot. I mean, he should be charging that much, but that's the nostalgia vibes weighing off. And that Pixar cult, those guys, they're small, but they're extreme. But I'm gonna do my same gut. $99.99.
$99.99.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, John Ratzenberger was charging $124.99. He is now charging $120 flat. So, point for John.
Oh,
Ooh.
his face.
All right. All right. Well, let's finish it.
All right.
And finally, Paul went. Norm. His price has changed. John, what do you think he is now charging?
I'm gonna go 110 again.
Oh, yeah. 110.
That's a good guess.
It's gonna be a similar cost to Ratzenberger, isn't it? 125.
Yeah. Norm, I think he's a man of the people. He should be doing it for $500, but you know what? I'm gonna say he's doing it for $50.
50. All right. Well, Paul Wendt was charging $129.99. He is now charging $125. So it looks like our guests are the winners of this week. No. Aw.
Which one won?
James was exactly a 125 on the dot. So John and James are tied. You guys can fight over the prize.
We hate to put a wedge into this friendship, gentlemen.
Yeah.
This was the plan all along.
Yeah, this is about as ethical
with a monkey's paw or a box with a button or something.
I tell you what, James got dead on with the last one, so I will concede the victory to him.
Oh,
that's good.
Yeah.
No, really.
Yeah,
James won, right?
Yeah, he was. He had. He was spot on. So I guess technically he should get a bonus point for being right on the money there. So yeah, I guess James. Is
so I got a fat goose egg, Robyn. But what's the score?
We pulled the rule books out, so it was John 2 and James 2.
Oh shit! No, we need
James.
We need a rule. We need a tiebreaker. Damn, woman.
Oh, you want a tiebreaker?
We need a tiebreaker, please.
This week. There wasn't that many. All right. Let me
just blind ladies' choice.
Is there a randomize button on Cameo? Just anyone.
Anyone.
It has to be Sarah Palin.
Ooh.
This is amazing.
That is a good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Former governor of Alaska, was it?
Former governor of Alaska, vice presidential candidate.
It's so hard to gauge, isn't it?
Maybe do just one more, Rob. Do different.
We'll go for this. We'll go
for Sarah Palin. Yeah.
We'll go for this. No.
Yeah. No. Okay.
We got this.
Please, one more. Just do. Yeah. No, not Sarah.
Jerry. Wait. We did Jerry. Did Jerry Springer?
Springer? You guys know who Springer is, right?
Yeah, Jerry Springer.
Yeah, Jerry Springer.
All right. Well, what do you think Jerry Springer will want for cameo in 2021?
250.
250.
I'm going to go a bit
James.
higher with 280.
280.
Wow.
We'll both
Such a
be too
narrow
high,
margin.
won't we?
$20.
All right, good. They're both way over. Jerry Springer's charging 135.
Oh.
On
We
to the next one.
underestimated.
On to the next. There
On to
can
the
only
next
be
one.
one. There can only be one.
Okay. Are you familiar with WWE star Ric Flair?
Woo!
Woo! I know he's been on here before, but that was a long while ago.
I'm gonna just put feelings aside and say these guys did not see that episode.
Nah, yeah.
I
I'm
have
gonna
looked
go
at his price before, but I've forgotten what it was.
I mean, 180.
180. Okay.
I was going to say 181 just to annoy John, but I won't. 260.
260.
Oh,
All
shit,
right.
money.
Ric Flair is charging $500 for a cameo, so James
Boom.
is the winner. James is closer. All right.
Robyn Seto's Cameo Party. Robyn Seto's Cameo Party.
Oh,
And,
Jesus.
All right. What a crazy game.
That was
End of this
that's like the
game.
craziest, most controversial Robyn Seto cameo party we've ever had.
Yeah. Well, we gotta.
I don't think we've done 40 of these. That was amazing.
Woo.
Like, I need a minute to breathe here. Okay, like, this was
So many tie
insane.
breaks as well.
We almost caused an
goodness.
international incident, Robyn. Like, goddamn. All right.
I know. Whoop. Could have been bad. But this
Gentlemen,
is.
what are you looking forward
great.
to in season 6?
Ooh.
Whoop.
More Lilith episodes. In
Okay.
season 5, we only got 2. Looking forward to more of them.
John,
That's
you
a good
might have to go a
answer.
little abstract on this one, but what are you expecting in season 6?
I think it's just going to be a bit funner. That's what I'm expecting. There was a lot of sort of jeopardy at play over the last, well, sorry, the last 2 seasons. I think it's going to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more playful. That's what I'm hoping for, a bit more fun. I like some fun in the comedies, you know?
I like my comedies to be fun.
Well, guys, I hope we can get together again for when you get to your season 6 finale, and we'll coordinate that a lot better. That was my felt.
Sorry.
Gentlemen, would you like to plug anything, including the Where Nobody Knows Your Name podcast, please? Where can people find that?
You can find us on the major podcast platforms. We do this through Anchor, but it's spread out to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the places you get your podcasts. We've also got a Patreon page where we have our bonus episodes. The 2 we've got up there so far are the Tortellis. We did a discussion of the pilot, and Flaming Moe's classic Simpsons episode.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know your opinions on both of those. Oh, Jesus. Robyn Seto, what do you do around here?
Around here, I do a little something called Light Beer Expressions. It's a weekly written craft beer review. Quick little easy to read and digest articles about different kinds of craft beer. I review them, different kind of styles, different breweries, all different kinds of fun stuff. Got a pretty nice back catalog going on the BosNet family. That came back this week, I believe. Yes.
That is right.
Yeah, came back on August 19th. So yes, they are going up on Thursdays now. Same time, noon California time, because we like to sleep in. And yeah, check those out on the BosNet family.
Guys, I do a bunch of stuff around here, but you already knew that. So I'm going to say check out the show I don't produce called Waffle Box. We do that weekly. You can find that on the BosNet, but it's also on YouTube and other places. On Twitter at WaffleboxPod. That's where you'll get all your updates about that. The Kick-Ass Movie Podcast. Jameel Hemphill from the Sweet Science Cinema. He's our guest. Him, me, and director Master Len Kabaczynski. We talk about Scott Adkins and Michael Jai White in Undisputed 2. And then next week's Microdose 81, I speak to the founder of Holland's Redhead Days Festival, Bart Rohenwurst. We have a great time talking about that, and that's just in time for the Redhead Days Festival. Of course, I am a judge of the Iron Dragon TV Action Fest, so why don't you skip back 2 episodes to Microdose 79, where we talk to Justin Wang Powell, the director of Fallen Sparrow. That's one of the selections. Otherwise, check out the Iron Dragon Action Fest. IDTVActionFest.com is where you can get more information there. For the Where Nobody Knows Your Name podcast, I've been Kush Hayes.
I've been Robyn.
You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the BosNet family.
I like some fun in the comedies,